Hey, friends, welcome back to another episode of Liftoff, your favorite real estate podcast on all of the interwebs. I'm Derek Myers, and I'm joined by my father and co host, Keith Myers.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you.
Hello, Father.
Derek was with me in person for a weekend, and now he's back in the confines of northern Georgia.
That's right. I'm back in the good old Peach State, ready to rock and roll. Had some fun surprising you. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, it was Keith's birthday last week. So make sure you comment happy birthday and send him $100, maybe $1,000.
Hey, these people don't care about that though. So let's talk about things. How about new changes going on in the world of real estate? We had our R4 Remax convention, and there's some changing of our look, our brand, an update, a refresh of our logo. I, for one, love it. And so it's starting to roll out. So watch for that. So refresh, edgy look, which I love. Gary Keller sold a chunk of his company, Keller Williams, to Stone Point Capital. Stone Point Capital actually owns Lone Wolf Software and a number of other things within our real estate space. Then yesterday or day before, Chiron stepped down as president of Real Brokerage. That was a shocker. Smart guy. What else? What else has happened?
And Rocket, also known as Rocket Mortgage, and their other affiliates, purchased Redfin, which was a big shock to many.
Might be the biggest of all of them, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting to know about that kind of thing. The world's full of changes all the time, right? Expect more. I know of some other things that are happening on the local front. There's been a couple pretty good, long-lasting real estate companies that close their doors. The competition is tough in a lower transaction space that we have, and I have news for you, and that will change. So just hang in there out there, you real estate practitioners, and we'll give you some advice on how to make sure that you rise to the top when needed, which is now. But yeah, change happens. It really is something that in my 41-year career, I've seen it in our business. We've seen companies come and go. We've seen agents come and go. I've seen some surprises, pluses, good and bad. And what I found is that if you don't embrace change, it'll happen to you. So you have to anticipate what may be on the horizon by being a student of our industry, business trends, what's going on in even the political environment and how that affects the things that we do. Ultimately, we can only control our actions, but many times if we are prepared to anticipate how these extraneous forces can have an impact on our lives, then we are able to navigate these streams, if you will, better.
Absolutely. I think that, to your point, again, it's being informed. And I think that sometimes it can feel overwhelming when we're faced with a number of different changes. But it reminds me of a quote by somebody named Steve Maraboli. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he said, incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. So it's important to know that when changes happen, whether that's interest rates going back up again or something that's happening like Redfin that gets purchased by another company, whatever the case may be, there are certain things that are going to happen in our life and business that we have absolutely no control over. And being able to recognize what we can do to affect change, I think ultimately empowers our autonomy and helps us to be able to be in charge of our business. I think what happens is when you get too bogged down by noise, that ends up becoming a distraction rather than a motivator toward change. What do you think?
That's correct. Yeah. And the Japanese have a term that many people know, which is Kaizen, which is small incremental change towards a goal. And it's this small incremental change that can make a big difference at the end of a year or 5 years or 10 years in one's career. The key is you can't stay the same. One is either growing or shrinking. Companies are either growing or shrinking. When you try to stay the same, first of all, it's the oft said meaning of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So we have to be able to look to do some changes. Look at your health. Let's say you want to lose some weight. Something has to change. You need to move more, eat less, other things like that, right? But mainly that's it. And the same thing in real estate. Hey, if you want to make more money, you can cut your costs to get by with a little less money. But at some point in time, you need more revenue. And in our world, that means more transactions. There's several things that you can do to control your income. That's more transactions, higher priced homes, have enough value that you can charge more for your services. The one that's easiest to control is more transactions. You can be intentional and focus some energy on a higher price point. Maybe that's right for you. And you can improve your skill level by providing more true value to the consumer where they actually benefit by these things that you do, maybe anywhere from staging to property prep to your unique marketing that you do, some kind of a way to get better exposure, your negotiation skills and things like that, that you can provide a better outcome for your clients. But you just need to take charge of that and embrace that. And really, so much is possible. There's proof of concept out there all around of agents that are in this market doing $100 million a year in sales or $200 million in sales. It's pretty crazy. And that may not be what you endeavor to do. But I can assure you, I bet to the person, you would like a few more sales. We have a overarching slogan mantra for 2025 here at RE/MAX One. What is that, Derek? What do we say?
+5 and 25.
That's right. We can change our agents' lives and help them have a better life by helping them through tools, resources, support, ideas, referrals, all those kind of things to get 5 more transactions this year versus last year. And the good news is last year was a pretty low bar for a lot of people. We do have a few agents that had their best year in 2024, but those are outliers. And the reality is if you could do 5 more transactions in 2025 versus what you did last year, it'll make a difference in your life. Thanks what that can do for you. You can get that vacation you once had. You can invest back in your business. You can remodel your house. You can buy a new house. You decide. But my point is grow your revenue. And how do you do that? There's a lot of paths to go there. But you need to take 1, 2, or 3, and you need to focus your energy and work a plan each and every day in that Kaizen method, just doing something consistently on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And I think what comes to mind when you were talking about that is, growth happens outside of our comfort zones. And I think that the reason we don't see change or the change that we want is because we are creatures of habit. We gravitate toward doing those similar repeated behaviors, and we don't want to veer outside of what we know. It's a survival instinct, and some of it is really good. It's nice to have routine. It's nice to have things that we can expect in our daily habits. However, when things are starting to grow stagnant and stale, it's also important to evaluate what is that incremental change, right? If you think about steering a big ship, it's a small rudder that's turning that massive boat. And that point being is that sometimes it's not this massive change. I need to completely rebrand my business, or I need to move away from my method of prospecting. It's maybe I can make an extra 5 calls today. What would happen if I did that for a week? What would happen if I did that for 2 weeks?
Right.
Or a month? And be able to track that. And just like anything else, the success that comes by us making those Kaizen incremental changes then becomes contagious. What was once extremely uncomfortable becomes maybe slightly difficult to adjust to. And then before long, you become a master of it. And then from there, your ceiling now becomes your floor.
Yep.
That former unattainable height to reach with your success and your growth now becomes something that you springboard off of. Those of you who spend any time working out and going to the gym, there's times where maybe you plateau with some of your strength training. And then you trick your muscles, you adjust things, you maybe go lighter weight and higher reps, or you implement supersetting or something to break the routine. And what that does is it breaks your body out of that comfort zone and that familiarity and shocks it, because in shocking the muscles and shocking your body, you're teaching your body to adapt.
Yeah.
So when change is happening, the true masters of success, the ones who have learned to grow and keep growing, right? We don't want to see the sporadic big heights and deep valleys. We want to see that steady trajectory of growth, and how we do that is by having that sustainable change.
Mhm.
If you're somebody who's saying like, I don't really want to door knock, but I guess I have to, so I'm going to go knock on 100 doors, I can guarantee you're probably going to burn out after a day or two of doing that. Why? Because it's not what you want to do. So go back to your why. Go back to the things that are bringing you passion and say, what's something small that I can start changing? You've had it on your mind to be more active on social media. You like it. You know that it actually bears fruit in staying in touch with your sphere. So with that in mind, what can you do today to get started with that? What change can you make? Okay, you can post a video of yourself talking about some of your story and why you love what you're doing. Or you can go out in your community and go to a coffee shop that you really like, talk to the owner and say, hey, I'd love to promote your business. I love coming in here and getting coffee. Collaborate with them on Instagram. It's a great way to grow your audience, a great way to grow their audience, and a great way for you to expose yourself to new clients as well. So that's just a couple ways to implement some of that small changes. But again, starting with what you love to do and what really is your why and your passion will help sustain that growth instead of being this inconsistent up and down. It'll help keep that moving steadily upward. Steady on wins the race, right? It's not about being the hare. It's not being about super fast. It's about having that onward momentum that is going to keep bearing fruit long term.
Yeah. It makes me think of another word, a word that came to me a couple months ago that it's been reinforced in a couple of things I've seen recently, including we had a couple handfuls of agents go to an event down near LAX. Tom Ferry. Everybody knows Tom Ferry. He does a great job, good communicator, a lot of good ideas. And he talked about this word. And I didn't go, but I got notes and talked to a couple agents that went there. And one of that word that he used was, I'm going to back into it. If you work hard towards that goal that sings to you, that consistency that you do towards that goal will bring competency. And competency comes from doing things over and over. Malcolm Gladwell, in his famous book, talks about them doing things for 10,000 hours. If you do it 10,000 hours, you become an expert, whether you're playing the piano or really anything, shooting free throws. When you do it for 10,000 hours, you get pretty good at it. And the same thing in our business. And it may not even take 10,000 hours, but the concept is to do it over and over consistently and get better, and it becomes easier to do. And what does that bring? Confidence. Confidence is a byproduct of doing the right thing over and over. And it's a circle that brings, when you're confident, you're more likely to do the contacts, the outreach. You're more confident going on listing presentations in a competitive situation, and you're better suited to get right price listings at the proper fee that you choose to work for and win more often. So confidence, I see it all the time in all walks of life. You see it within athletes or business people or politicians. The ones that have the confidence, it comes across as competent. So it comes backward into it. So you need to keep doing that until you are so confident that you're bumping up against cocky. But don't go cocky. Be humbly confident, and you will enjoy what you do more. You will reap better results at what you're doing, and that will cause change in a positive way towards fulfilling your dream of being very successful in this chosen field of real estate sales, this noble field where we are serving people to buy or sell one of their biggest assets, or in most cases, the biggest asset, one of the biggest decisions they're ever going to make. Don't they deserve an expert? Don't they deserve a confident person to help guide them through? Do you want your knee surgeon to be confident? Yeah, that's what you want. So yeah, all of this about trying to create the positive change that we all want. I think we all want it. We all want to whether it's stop smoking or lose weight or all those things, or you want more sales. Joe or Mary, who's always a top producer, and you're just not quite there. And you're every bit as smart. You're willing to work as hard as them or harder. What do they have? What secret thing? I can tell you mostly it's not a secret. It's not a secret potion. It's not their lucky pipeline that nobody else knows about. They just do it over and over again and get so good at it that they exude confidence and they win all the time.
Yeah, I think sometimes end up overcomplicating the activity instead of just going out and failing forward, right? The part of the learning curve and the growth process is that there will be bumps, there will be lost deals, there will be difficult clients and days where you don't feel like, maybe even more than days, weeks, where you don't feel like you're on your A game and you're striking out a lot. And you know what? That is the time to be able to lean on the voices in your life that you draw inspiration from. Because when it comes down to it, what separates people who are seeing success and those that are not are those that truly have an unshakable confidence, right? That unshakable confidence in themselves.
Yep.
And part of cultivating that is being hyper vigilant on your headspace. What are you feeding your mind and your heart? How are you taking care of yourself? Are you moving your body? Are you paying attention to books, maybe audiobooks, maybe podcasts, maybe shoot anything from social media? What are you feeding yourself that is fostering that self-belief, that confidence?
And speaking of feeding yourself, I want to jump on that. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm a big believer, and we're starting to see more and more offices that companies go more virtual, and I get it. Cost of occupancy, rent, insurance, utilities, all of that has continued to go up, and especially where we are here in Southern California, it's a big part of the company dollar. So we are right-sizing and trying to do smart things as well. But there's nothing better than collaborating in person with agents that are like-minded and picking each other up, getting an idea or getting a little bit of motivation and that sort of thing. We are still, while we do embrace things like video and Zoom meetings and such because of the spread of our network, we like to do an in-person meeting at all our offices at least once a month. And today I'm in Westlake Village and we are going to have an in-person meeting, which I'm excited to do. We are actually doing a Dodger thing. So everybody's wanted some Dodgers. I got one under here. But my point is that if things are going a little rough, don't be a hermit. Get back involved. Reach out to your manager, your broker, and if they're not receptive and give you the support that you need, go find it. There's a lot of great companies out there. I'll put my hand up. I think I'm a little bit biased. I get it, but we have a lot of things, starting with a passionate leader, moi, who really wants you to be successful, walks in your steps and knows what you've gone through, yet stays current and helps you through these things. You really need to do that. Don't get lost in the shuffle by just getting in your own head and staying in your jammies all day. That's not healthy for you.
Of course.
That's change going the wrong direction.
Yeah, it very easily can turn into isolation. And in that isolation, we become an echo chamber of our own negativity. And that just feeds on itself, right? It's like the feedback loop of anybody who's seen that microphone that gets too close to the speaker and it makes that ear-piercing noise. And you're like, whoa, that's what happens when we isolate ourselves too much, especially when we're in a funk. We need to get around other people to help us raise our mindset, to help us to continue in the direction we desire. When you're around that energy, it's contagious. That's why it's so important to plug into an environment that is aligned with your values, aligned with the direction you want to head in. If you want to become $1 million GCI agent, then find other people who've done it. Mm-hmm. If you want to be somebody who is a great listing agent and you've not really been able to quite nail that, man, they are around, and I can guarantee you there are plenty of willing and competent and successful listing agents who could help you as well. But it all goes back to taking those risks, betting on yourself. Because when it comes down to it, if you're not betting on yourself and you're not believing in yourself, it's going to be really hard for people that you're going to represent to believe in you too. So that's why job one has got to be putting that oxygen mask on yourself, tuning out the noise that can maybe distract you, right? The change that we can affect. But first and foremost, the change that we can affect starts here. And from there, everything else is like the dominoes that begin to fall over.
Yeah, that's true. Derek, I think, you know what, we're not going to make this one of our long podcasts today because we want to be pithy and to the point. And brevity is the elixir of life, because
I tend to be rather loquacious.
many people do speak much longer than they need to, and they need to be parsimonious with their language. Therefore,
we've got some vocab words for people to go ahead and look up afterward.
But here's what I would leave you with out there. Contact me. Reach out to me. I'll give you 6 things, 6 actionable items that everybody can do. You may gravitate to 1, 2, 4, or 6 of them. But I can assure you, you'll get one of these 6 things will be assuredly going to help you make the positive change that you're looking for in your life. Just reach out to us. Our contact information is here, and I'd love to share that with you. But until then, do something today that is a positive change. Eliminate something negative in your life or add something positive, and reach towards a brighter future by doing that. And you know what? Hug someone you love. I had to go full circle because love is what it's all about. Seriously.
Good stuff. Well, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Liftoff. I hope that this has added fuel to your tank as you continue rising to new heights with your success. Stay tuned for next time. Peace out.
See you, y'all.